we'll dig deeper into it. Let's bring in former Assistant District Attorney Philip Holloway. Thank you for joining us. I've got the incident report in front of me here from the Hampton County Sheriff's Office. Not even a scratch. What are we to make of this development?
Well, good afternoon, guys, and thanks for having me back. You know, this is quite a caper. If I didn't know better, I would think this was the newest and latest John Grisham lawyer crime drama novel. This is really bizarre. I think that the real question that investigators are looking at right now, in addition to all the other things that Phil just reported on, they are looking to see if this alleged shooting even happened over the weekend, or did it happen the way Alex said that it did. Because, you know, you've got a vehicle that's, you know, some reports are that this had run flat tires on this vehicle. You don't need to get out and change a vehicle or a tire on a vehicle with run flat tires. It will go 4 miles. I checked with a source today who's a homicide investigator who confirmed with me that that's the case. These things can go for many miles. So if it turns out to have not been a flat tire, or if it was flat, was it linked to a knife owned by this individual? All of these are questions, and if the answers to these questions prove that this was a false report of crime, I think you might see an arrest in the very near future. And if that turns out to be the case, if he's not telling the truth about this, that's going to really put him under the microscope about whether he's telling the truth about all the other things under investigation.
You know, Phil, our Nancy Grace has been talking a lot about this recently. She sort of, you know, traced down the timeline of all of this in terms of, was the truck following Murdaugh? Did it follow him onto this rural road? Oh, my goodness, what a stroke of fortune for the person in the truck that he suddenly broke down at the side of the road with run-flat tires. The pickup truck had a chance to go past him, turn around. Somebody fired a shot, wounded him, but didn't kill him. She was painting this idea that the whole scenario really strains credulity.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question about it, John. This was a very rural, remote sort of an area, and you don't have just random crime out there. But the way this was described, like you mentioned, a vehicle that was driving past him, a truck that stopped and turned around and comes back and fires. How many times, we don't know, allegedly, but never actually hits its target. Or if it did, it was extremely minor, so minor that law enforcement didn't notice any visible injuries. So the whole thing is very suspicious. Wow. To say the least, and it is a crime to falsely report a crime. So that's why I say that if this turns out to be false, a false report, he can be arrested. And that's on top of all the other legal troubles, the alleged theft from the law firm, and as well as the murders that he's being looked at for.
We've got the incident report in our hands here, and I'll just ask you what this means and what it means for this case going forward. That in the report, the officer checks no in the visible injury box, which we've been covering. It also notes in the narrative section, quote, further investigation required, also noted no to alcohol or drugs. So how does this proceed from here?
So what you're looking at is you're looking at the cover sheet to a much larger case file. This is the publicly available version. There's supplemental reports that will go along with that. Every officer who responded is going to write a report. There's going to be body camera video. There's going to be perhaps dash camera video from patrol cars. But there's also cell phone data. You're gonna get a dump of the nearby cell phone towers. There might even be something called a geofence where they can take a circumference and put it around the scene of this alleged shooting to see who with a smartphone or smart device might have entered a geographic radius. And if so, if you find somebody, then the question is, were they maybe in a truck? Is there anything to corroborate or to even maybe disprove the allegations made by Alex?
You know, Phil, you mentioned the other legal troubles that he's facing, one of which is that he got fired from his law firm, which was started by his great-grandfather. His brother, Randy, is also a member of that firm, who quickly came out with this student in response to the allegations that Alex Murdaugh might have made off with millions of dollars, according to the New York Times, from the firm. Randy Murdaugh saying, quote, I was shocked, just as the rest of my PMPED family, that's the law firm, to learn of my brother Alex's drug addiction and stealing of money. While I will support him in his recovery, I do not support, condone, or excuse his conduct in stealing by manipulating his most trusted relationships. I will continue to pursue my client's interests with the highest degree of honesty and integrity, as I always have. You ever seen somebody run away from their brother faster than that guy?
No, they're in damage control mode. They've hired publicists. In fact, the statement put out by Alex Murdaugh over the weekend, as I understand it, was written by a publicity firm. So everybody's in damage control mode here. The law firm itself could have potential liability if clients are missing any money that's supposed to be held in trust by the law firm. So they've got to do their own due diligence. They've got to make sure that any collateral damage from any of this alleged theft is stopped. And there's going to be a forensic accounting of all the firm's finances. And quite frankly, if it is in the millions of dollars, as I've heard reported, that to me strikes me as something that it would be noticeable, you know, if your business is missing millions and millions of dollars. So it's not just that one person would have known about that. So let's hope it wasn't quite that much money if money was missing.
And let's just see what he's been up to the past few days. I know you believe that his movements will be closely scrutinized by law enforcement. What exactly will that look like, and how far will they be digging into his activities most recently?
Well, they're going to start with what he said to law enforcement, what he said to first responders, and they're going to work backwards. They know where they found him out on the roadway. They're going to work back over hours and days, if not weeks. You've got cell phone communications, text messages, you got emails, you got phone calls, you have eyewitness encounters with him over the last number of days. So they're going to be piecing together everything that he's done, coming up with a timeline, but also a geographic sort of a retracing of his steps to find out whether or not he's done anything that either can corroborate or can show that maybe he's not telling the truth. So they're going to either try to prove it or disprove it. A good investigator is said to objectively follow whatever the evidence is to wherever the truth may be, regardless of where it leads them. So that's what they're doing. They've got a lot to look at, and that's why they're being so tight-lipped. The SLED, South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, they are very good professionals. They know what they're doing. They know that they've got to keep this close to the vest so that the integrity of their investigation remains intact.
Well, we will keep following it as best we can. And Phil Holloway, thank you for joining us with your analysis today.
Thank you, Phil.
Much appreciated.
Happy to be here. Take care, guys.
He compared it to